Hi, I'm going to show you how to make this double layered vinyl zipper pouch. This is 2 layers of vinyl. There's an outer clear white stars and then a teal vinyl. It is lined, and I'm going to show you how to do the whole entire thing step by step. All the materials can be found at sewhungryhippie.com. Okay, so I'm going to start with this teal vinyl. We have this in the shop, it's brand new. And I just cut my size. Let's see, this is about 12 by 7. So I'm going to take my star vinyl. This piece was a scrap piece. Wasn't quite big enough, but I wanted to show you this vinyl. This is called White Stars Vinyl at sewhungryhippie.com. Let me put that to the side. It comes with a protective layer on it. You want to peel that off, toss it in the trash. Alright, so it doesn't really matter, it's non-directional, however way you want to cut it. I always overlay it like this. See how I've got extra all around? I'm going to trim it down so it's a little bit closer, like this. And now I'm going to sew all the way around the edge. Now the important thing here is you want to make sure you have a Teflon foot on your machine. Let me swing the camera around and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm not going to use any Wonder Clips. You certainly can if you want to. I do this all the time, so I'm just going to hold it in place. I've got plenty of vinyl to work with on my overlay here. So I'm just going to make sure it's got extra all around. I've got my Teflon foot on. That means it's a non-stick sewing foot. Really important. Super, that's your number one. You need a non-stick sewing foot. I've got a chrome Microtex needle, size 80-12 in my machine. And I'm using Gutermann thread. Let me raise this up a bit. See my Gutermann all-purpose thread spool. I'm using white, that's what I have most of the time in my machine. I'm using this mechanical Bernina 1008. This is what I learned to sew on. I'm very comfortable with this machine. There are not tons of bells and whistles and no computer chips to worry about. I prefer a machine that's like this for most of my vinyl sewing. It's just less to worry about for me. My stitch length is 3.5 and I am sewing about 1/8 of an inch or so on the edge. I'm just connecting these 2 vinyls. Make sure you don't have any hairs or weird things trapped inside. I'm not pushing or pulling. The feed dogs are doing all the work. Come to a corner, needle down, raise my foot, turn the material. Oops. I see a Tory hair in there. Now I'm going to trim this down and we're ready to sew the pouch together. Alright, so I've got my 2 pieces. I'm gonna trim this. See how I have all this excess around the outer edge? I like, if I'm combining two vinyls, I always do that so that the top one has extra around the edge. And then I will trim it down. Then I'm going to make sure these two pieces are the same size. Now this one has a little bit of a pucker here. I was probably pulling on it a little bit because trying to film and sew at the same time trips me up sometimes. So I'm just going to pick it out. Release that bubble, and then re-sew it shut. I can see something happened there because my bobbin threads were showing. It's all right. Just do it again. There. Smooth that out. I'm just going to re-sew that real quick. Sometimes I just flip it over and do it from the other side. Let me pull this over. So now I'm going to look at this side as I sew. Grab my pedal. Sometimes just a little bit of playing around with it really does the trick. I can already see that that's better. Yay, and this whole hot mess here is going to be in the seam allowance, won't show on the end bag, so who cares? All right, let me get rid of my mess. I have to have a clean space to work or I feel crazy. All right, now let's measure this. Good, now they're the same size. So I have to grab a zipper and let's turn this into a zipper pouch, shall we? Okay, so I've picked this kind of coral zipper to go with my pouch colors. I love teal and coral together. And then I had this scrap of Anna Maria that I just started cutting for my zipper tabs. So I'm gonna make 2 zipper tabs that are 2 by 2. And then, per usual, my usual zipper tab method. I really should get my iron out. I think I can do it with a good finger press. Now this is way too long for my project, so I will cut those metal stops off because I hate it when I sew over them. They break my needle. I'm going to put the front end first and sew this down. So that's attached. Now I'm going to make the zipper an inch shorter so that I have at least a finger space on each side. You can measure. I'm just going to wing this one because I'm feeling motorcycle. That looks about right. It'll do. Do the zipper tab on this side. Okay, so the zipper is ready. Now I just need to get my lining and then we'll put this baby together. Okay, so here we are. I've got my zipper ready to go. Got the 2 exterior double vinyl layers ready to go. And I've got my lining. Now I do recommend, for ease of use and a really professional finish, to interface this side with SF101, also known as Shape Flex. It's my favorite woven interfacing. I use it all the time. But if you don't have any on hand, I don't want it to stop you. So I'm just going to show you that I'm going to do it without the SF101, okay? So if you have it, fuse it now to the wrong side. If you don't, you can carry on with me. All right, so here's our zipper. We are going to place it right side facing the vinyl. And you're going to get your clips and hold this in place. If you're advanced and you want to add your lining at the same time, you totally can. You're going to add it like this and sew down. I'm going to do it this way because we don't want anyone getting frustrated or confused or anything like that, okay? All right, we're going to sew down this edge. I'm sorry, I didn't feel like, it's just one of those days. I don't feel like brushing my hair or putting on makeup, so I'm not going to. I don't care. If you want to judge me, go ahead. All right, so there is my zipper, and here we go. Now to start, I'm going to pull the zipper pull back a few inches so I can start more easily. And then when I get up to it, I'm going to move it out of the way. I already tested that my needle is not going to hit the zipper foot. I'm ready to rock. I'm going to stop with my needle down, lift my foot, and get that pull out of the way. There. And there it is. It's on there really nicely and straight. That's the important thing. Now I'm going to add the lining. And to do that, I take my lining piece, which you might have interfaced, and place it right sides together with the vinyl. The zipper is sandwiched in between. I'm going to use clips to hold it in place. And then I'm going to flip it over and stitch right on the stitching line that I just did. Because then I know no previous stitching will show and it'll be secured really nicely. For this one, I'm going to take it out. I can feel myself coming to that pull, and I'm just going to take it out and start attaching again. When I start and stop, I do back stitch, just at least a stitch or two, and especially when I'm ending, just to kind of lock it in place so nothing wants to pull like the threads pull out. Okay, let me trim all these threads. They drive me nuts. And on this side too, I just like a neat working environment except for my floor. And now I'm gonna push those fabrics wrong sides together so that you can see this side is the lining, this side is the vinyl, and then I'll top stitch. But you really, this is 2 layers of vinyl, so you really have to come in here and push this down. And a trick that I do is to make sure that lining is in place properly, and then use my clips to hold it down so that while I'm top stitching, it doesn't creep up like this, and then you're sewing fabric into your zipper teeth and the zipper won't be functional. I've done that 1,000, well, not 1,000 hopefully, but I've done that quite a few times. So just know, it happens to everybody. Don't feel bad. Just pop out the stitches and try again. Now, if you want to, which I'm going to, top stitch this layer down, and the seam allowance is down so that as you're top stitching it, you're catching that seam allowance. Oh, I need my Teflon foot. You want to learn how to sew a pouch, Ramel? This is your idea, your double layer.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, isn't it?
Wow.
Double, so 2 layers of vinyl, and that's the lining. So we're top stitching this. Say hi. We're on this one.
Oh, we're...
Yeah, say it. You got to be over here.
Oh, over here, okay. Hi. So you're talking about this one right here, huh?
Yeah, that idea. Sometimes when you get to the 4 layers, or actually it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers, at the zipper tab, the 2 layers of vinyl, the zipper tape, and your lining, 6 layers, you may want to stop and hand crank. If your machine is giving you trouble, it's never wrong to just be like, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to hand crank the needle down, maybe give the pedal a tap, go to the next, I'm going to hand crank. That's another reason I like mechanical machines, because I'm really, really in control with that. Here we go. I should probably zoom in. Okay, here we go. Now, as I come up to that pull, I'm going to stop and move it out of the way. Remember, my stitch length is a little longer at 3.5. Here comes that pull. It's going to make me curve, so I need to keep my needle down, lift my foot, and move the pull either front or back. It doesn't matter which way, just get it out of your way. I'm pinching this to help flatten it before I get there to sew. Okay, needle down, lift the foot. I gotta move this pull out of the way. If you have to take it all out, just take it all out. I may have to, actually. Do what you gotta do. If you need, well, you might need to turn your tension up for this section of the sewing. Let me transition here. So if you're getting a bunch of nesting along the back, that's not right. You don't want that. So I had to turn my machine up 2 notches on the tension to get all the layers to work properly. I almost never have to change tension on this machine, so I'm quite surprised that I had to do that. Now, it could be a combination of things. This vinyl and the white heart vinyl and the leopard vinyl are a little more challenging to sew. They're more jelly-like. They're more, I don't know if I call it thick. I don't know, there's something about them that they're just more challenging than, let's say, a 10 gauge vinyl that I carry. So be aware of that. I had to turn up my tension, and now I've got a really straight top stitch seam, and it looks clean on the back as well. I need to come in here and remove the previous threads where it started to nest, and I'll do that later. Let's do the next side and then put this together. So this is the side we just did. So we're gonna lay the exterior front even at the top. So you'll be looking at it like this. You want to match your side edges. Be sure to make the pouch even. I'm gonna leave my Teflon foot on. You may want to scooch your needle position instead of being center. You may want to scooch it a little to the left so you're closer to the zipper teeth if you want a real tight look. I don't know if I really am too particular about that as long as my stitching is straight. I kind of like the pop of color with seeing some of the zipper tape. Here I'm coming up to the pole, so I'm just going to take it out, open it up, move that pole out of my way, make sure it's even. I'm going to start a little bit before where I left and attach the rest. All right. Trim all those threads out of the way. Oh, thank you for the coffee.
You're welcome.
Remember, this is the other side, but you're looking at the wrong side, so you don't want to attach the lining to this side. It's always right sides together. So, remaining lining piece, right sides together. Align that top edge, make sure the sides are matching up. And then attach your clips. You don't want to use pins here because it will make forever holes in your vinyl. So I've got it attached. And now I'm going to look at this side because I can already see the stitching of where we just attached. So we know that everything will be good to go. I'm going to start and back up and then keep going. Is the pull down here? I don't think so. Oh, I think there's the pull, yep. I may need to pull this out to move, or maybe I can just reach in there and do it. I can. Okay. Okay, I'm coming up close to it again. Need to get it out of the way. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it like that. So no worries, I'm just gonna pull it out, move the zipper pull out of my way, and then continue attaching. And then just go back and make sure everything is attached. Okay. So again, just like before, we've got to top stitch this side. So again, from this side, you can press with your iron. That's okay. I'm not going to because I've had some emails where people are too afraid to use their iron with my vinyl. So I'll show you, you can do it without it. Might be a little bit more challenging. but it can be done. So I'm gonna put clips so that, the reason I do the clips is this will wanna pull and get all up in that zipper teeth, and you'll be so mad if you can't open your zipper. All right, now it's ready to top stitch and hold all these layers down. Remember, we're probably, most likely, gonna have to turn our tension up. Yep, I'm at a 9 here. What does mine go up to? Oh, it goes up to 10. So I have it cranked up. And final check. Also like to kind of grab the lining underneath as I'm sewing, so that I just know it's not getting in the zipper teeth. You know what I'm doing. All right. If you have an extension table that keeps all these layers flat, it's easier to use that when you're doing something like this. I just try to do it with minimal equipment, so if you don't have it, you know it still can be done. All right, here she is. Don't worry if something is not perfectly even. See, happens to me. I just trim it up, get it all even now before we do the boxed corners. On the lining, it just doesn't matter as much. As long as these pieces are even, we're gonna have a straight pouch. It won't be wonky and lopsided. He always makes my coffee kind of cold. I don't get it. But done is better than perfect, I guess. To use my little 2.5 inch acrylic ruler for when I'm doing squared corners, but you can also just do it with this. You guys, my arms are so sore. I can barely be functional today because I lifted weights yesterday for the first time in like 2.5 weeks. And now I can hardly move. There, I'm just gonna draw it on with Sharpie because did you know that with Sharpie, a little alcohol pad will take the markings right off the vinyl if you do a boo-boo and have it showing after you've cut. Don't even worry about it because alcohol will remove it. Okay, so I have the lining under here, so I'm cutting it at the same time. You don't have to. You can do all 4 pieces separately. I'm just trying to speed it up for you, okay? Oops. Okay. So just like all my other pouches, make sure you open your zipper. Did you open it? Did you open it? Open the zipper. Open me. Match the bottom edge and clip in place. So the 2 exterior and the 2 lining. The lining I usually do pin in place because I just feel extra secure with pins. You know what? I'm just gonna do it because that's what I like. And I do it like this because here I'm just gonna leave it open so that I can turn the bag. It's called birthing the bag. So gross. But that's what they say. My zipper is open. I don't worry about this too much, but if you're worried, you can have your seams pinched towards the lining if you want. I just let it fall how it's comfortable falling, and I go with it because we do not sew over the zipper tabs. You've got a finger width space here, and that's where we're sewing. You're not sewing over the tabs. And then we'll sew, I should flip it over. We'll sew on the bottom and leave this open. We'll sew on the bottom, okay? Then we'll pinch our corners. You know the drill, you know it. Back. I'm a zipper pouch addict. I think Ann said that in our group. So Hungry Hippie Makers group, and it made me snort laugh. We should start a club. Zipper pouch addicts. Here I come up to the zipper tab area. And I'm not sewing over the zipper tabs. I'm going right by them. All right, so last part, we're nesting the corners. So remember, we put our finger in there and open it. This is a really small corner. 1 inch is so small, but I love the look. So sometimes I have to come in from the lining in here, go through the zipper, and like help myself to get it flat and pinch it. And then I always nest my seams. So 1 seam is going to the left and 1 is going to the right. And I pinch it so it's nice and flat and straight all the way across. And then I'm gonna sew right here, 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch if you want. It doesn't really matter, just keep it straight. Keep your seams consistent. The temptation is to want to sew back and forth on that a million times. Don't do that because this is vinyl and you can perf it. So if you want to, what I tend to do is sew twice, 1 just inside the other, never overlapping though. So I have like a wig of threads here, but that seam is secure and tight and it's not going to go anywhere. And I'm going to trim all those down. And then we do the same thing for the other corner. I'm going to like get my fingers in here and make it flat. Can take some coaxing. Make sure, by the way, that your vinyls are flat in there. Do a finger sweep. Make sure make sure the top layer of vinyl, that both sides aren't on one side. You know what I mean? I just do a quick finger sweep. Now we birth the bag. Although I like to get rid of all these threads. Pet peeve, pet peeve. All right. Now we go in through the lining. I'll switch cameras. Here we are. Oh, I forgot to do the lining corners. Doy. Let me sew those really quick. Oh my gosh, hello. You do need some gumption to turn this baby out. You're turning 4 layers of vinyl. All right, so I'm just gonna use all my strength and muscles and turn this thing right side out. Make sure to push out your corners, especially up in the top, those zipper tabs. It takes a lot of strength to get those pushed out correctly. So take your time or ask your partner to do it. And I'll see you back here in a second. Oh yeah, you can use a paintbrush. Whatever works. All right, here it is. I am so happy with the result. I hope you are too. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and share if you can. Thanks so much. I'll see you soon.